Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 128. Without any delay, start explanation. Can I say something? Tang Wulin asked. Go ahead, the referee said. It would be too shameful if they didn't allow their challengers boast as well. Thank you. First of all, I want to say that although we're students from Shrek Academy, we didn't come here to offend. We came here to challenge the Imperial Sun Moon Academy because we respect your strength and wanted to experience it for ourselves. But here's the thing. We've only been part of Shrek for one semester. Not only that, we're some of the weakest students in our academy. As such, we can't be considered actual representatives of Shrek and will instead only be representing ourselves in this match. What? The referee's jaw dropped. Neither he nor the other higher-ups of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy expected Tang Wulin to say such a thing. In the hours leading up to the match, they had rushed to prepare the stage for this match. It was all for the sake of bolstering their reputation. Better yet if they could stomp on Shrek Academy's pride while they were at it. Confident in their chances of victory for this match, the higher-ups of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy were looking forward to the boost in prestige should they defeat Shrek Academy. But what Tang Wulin had done dashed those plans. Now even if the Imperial Sun Moon Academy grasped victory, it would be a victory of lesser worth. And if they lost, the shame would be even greater. From his position in the air, the referee stared down upon Tang Wulin's smile. His mind froze at how harmless it appeared. He slowly descended and landed in front of Tang Wulin. Aren't you guys contradicting yourselves? Back then you said you were challenging us to a match as representatives of Shrek Academy, the referee sneered. Tang Wulin sighed. He flipped his hand and a megaphone appeared upon it in a flash of light. He pushed a button and Wu Xiaokong's icy voice filled the arena. Pay attention, students of the Imperial Sun Moon Soul Engineering Academy. The 6 of us come from Shrek Academy. We're all 14 years old and we're here to challenge your strongest team under the age of 20. We're here to show you once again the gap between you and the greatest academy on the continent. Our challenge never mentioned that we were representatives of Shrek. We only said that we were from Shrek Academy, our age, and the reason for our challenge. The referee nearly coughed up a mouthful of blood. We spent so much energy preparing for the match, and now you're telling us this. But there's no mistake that these kids are in their mid-teens. How could kids like them be so shameless? Although the Imperial Sun Moon Academy had clashed countless times with Shrek Academy, they had no doubts about their rivals' strength and dignity. Without this basic respect for Shrek Academy, they wouldn't have trusted Tang Wulin's word so quickly and arranged this match, all while scheming to undermine Shrek Academy's reputation. They had never expected to miss their mark so badly. The referee could barely restrain himself from asking them when Shrek Academy had become so shameless. However, they would lose more face if he asked. He didn't dare insult Shrek Academy. Tang Wulin blinked a few times. So, is the match still on? You guys can just admit defeat and we can call this off. The referee's aura flared, his battle armor shining bright and sharp as he sent a heated glare at Tang Wulin. He was a 3-word battle armor master, his strength the level of a titled Dolor. He could crush Tang Wulin's entire team with a snap of his fingers. Whoa there. I'll stop joking now, Tang Wulin said, his innocent expression hardening up. We are representatives of Shrek Academy and we're here to fight for our academy's glory. Our victory is predetermined. Despite being taken aback by Tang Wulin's sudden change in demeanor, the referee could now relax, letting out a breath of relief. If things had gone on like that any longer, he would have been forced to call off the match. That the great Imperial Sun Moon Academy was being taken so lightly by these kids shocked his very bones. Prepare for the match to begin, he said, rising back into the skies. But Tang Wulin wasn't quite finished. Oh right, I was lying about not being Shrek representatives, but everything else was true. We really are the weakest at Shrek, Tang Wulin said, deliberately emphasizing the word weakest. The referee faltered in the air, nearly dropping to the ground. A meek smile hanging from his lips, Tang Wulin stepped forward to face his opponents. My name is Tang Wulin. I'm a student in the 1st grade. He took care to omit the fact that he was the class president. Each and every word that Tang Wulin spoke had been carefully crafted, serving as knives to cut down any pride and satisfaction the Imperial Sun Moon Academy could derive from this match. His words even shook the faith his opponents had in their victory. The leader of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy team approached Tang Wulin's group. "I'm Long Chen." He was tall and handsome, his entire being radiating strength. He looked to be about the same age as Tang Wulin, maybe a bit older. He stood as tall as a grown man, as steady as a mountain, the only one on his team unaffected by Tang Wulin's provocative words. Tang Wulin examined him. "Phew. You're huge. Are you sure you're not over 20? If you are and you win, then it doesn't count." Long Chen rolled his eyes. "I hope you're as strong as you are good at talking." Gu jumped to Tang Wulin's side. Gu of Shrek Academy's first grade. A member of the opposing team maneuvered herself to stand by Long Chen. Shui Liu Shuang. She was a striking beauty, her figure slender yet curvy. The two of them painted a perfect image of a perfect couple. Tang Wulin had the edge on Long Chen in terms of looks and build, but he lost in height. Shui Liu Shuang ignored Gu and focused her gaze on Tang Wulin instead, eyeing him with interest. Yi Xinglan was next to step forward. Yi Xinglan, the third member of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy team, took his place next to Long Chen. Yu Dingqi. Although he was of average height, his shoulders were broad and his arms thick. The strength contained in his body was obvious. The remaining members of Shrek Academy's team introduced themselves at once. Following that, the opposing team did the same. Jian Mochen. He was a boy that could rival Shu Lixi in fatness. Guang Zhantian, a petite girl, yelled. Tang Wulin was surprised by the disconnect between her delicate appearance and how fierce her name sounded. He stopped himself just short of saying, "You should come to Shrek Academy. With a name like that, you're definitely a monster." Wang Daimin. The final member of the opposing team was a frail girl with short blue hair, not a wrinkle in sight on her uniform. It was 6 versus 6, but this match wasn't like their previous ones. Neither side took the initiative to reveal their soul master type. "Prepare for battle. Both teams fall back to your corners. There must be 100 meters between you," the referee said. His blood no longer thumped with held-back rage, as he had calmed down during each side's self-introductions. No matter what troubling details surrounded the match, as long as his academy's team won, everything would be fine. Even if Tang Wulin's team denied being representatives of Shrek Academy afterward, it wouldn't matter. They were still students at Shrek Academy. Both teams slowly retreated to their starting locations. Tang Wulin's carefree smile was wiped from his face. Although their opponents this time were the same age as them, they possessed an aura of undeniable might and had the home field advantage. This would be an uphill battle, and he would have to exercise full caution. Once they reached their starting location, Tang Wulin's team assumed their usual triangle formation. The opposing Imperial Sun Moon Academy team took on a similar formation. Long Chen spearheaded their triangle. The burly Yu Dingqi and rotund Jian Mochen flanked him on either side. Could they be agility types? Tang Wulin wondered. At their rear were Shui Liu Shuang, Wang Daimin, and Guang Zhantian, lined up side by side in that order. Judging from their formation, Wang Daimin should be a control type. I'm not sure about Shui Liu Shuang and Guang Zhantian. Tang Wulin glanced between them. Situated 100 meters away from each other, both teams locked gazes, each determined to win victory. Let the match begin. With the referee's declaration, the ultimate battle between the Imperial Sun Moon Engineering Academy and the Shrek Academy began. Instead of taking the lead and rushing forward like he usually did, Tang Wulin summoned his martial soul along with his companions. His aura flared as 3 purple soul rings rose from beneath his feet. Although he only had 3, it was impressive for his age. Their opponents summoned their martial souls as well. Long Chen took a step forward and he let out a draconic roar. 4 purple soul rings appeared around him, his body growing taller by 3 inches at the same time. Tang Wulin stared in shock. He has the same amount of soul rings as Wu Xidua. Wait, isn't there a Long Chen on the Genius Youth's rankings? Yeah, and he was just a few spots below her. While Wu Sidwa had twin martial souls and a self-soul fusion skill, Long Chen only had a single martial soul. The fact that he was only a couple of ranks below her instantly put Tang Wulin on guard. At the same time, anticipation swelled within him. He should be the strongest student within his age in the Imperial Sun Moon Academy. At Long Chen's side, Jian Mochen and Yudingqi called forth their martial souls as well. Yudingqi's martial soul was a hammer, the chain attached to the handle wrapping around his arm. It was the meteor hammer. 3 purple soul rings appeared around him. Although his strength was impressive, Long Chen still overshadowed him. For soul rings sprung up around Jian Mochen, 2 yellow and 2 purple. A round shield large enough to hide his bulk manifested in his hands. A tiger's face was engraved on its front. He was clearly a defense type. Of the 3 girls, Shueliu Shuang had 4 purple soul rings, while both Wang Daimin and Kuang Zhantian had 3 purple rings. Uh-oh. 3 of them are soul ancestors. They are almost as strong as the rankers in our class. Tang Wulin exclaimed in his heart. Is that it? The Imperial Sun Moon Engineering Academy's team was definitely outstanding, but they didn't hold a candle against Wu Sidwa's team. Considering the fact that his own team defeated Wu Sidwa's, he didn't hold any fear at all. Unfortunately for the Imperial Sun Moon Academy, they just didn't understand what sort of monsters were in Shrek Academy. This year's first grade class was simply terrifying. Tang Wulin was unaware of this, but the Imperial Sun Moon Academy did investigate Shrek Academy. They knew of the 5 rankers in Shrek Academy's first grade, but that was it. While they did research Tang Wulin's group, they didn't look any deeper when they found out none of them were rankers. With their shallow knowledge of their opponents, they felt assured of victory. Long Chen stomped the ground and shot forward towards Tang Wulin. His second soul ring lit up and he opened his mouth wide, letting loose dragon roar. Light burst from his body, surging out like a wave with the faint form of a dragon. His martial soul was the Holy Radiant Dragon, and he was the Imperial Sun Moon Academy's ace of aces. He was the genius most likely to become a full-word battle armor master in his generation within the Imperial Sun Moon Academy. When Long Chen saw that the Shrek Academy team didn't have a single soul ancestor, he was beginning to believe that Tang Wulin's team really was the weakest Shrek Academy had to offer. He knew that this match was being broadcasted to the entire continent. It was the perfect chance to show off his power. If he could stomp these students from Shrek Academy, then his status among Soul Masters would be cemented. Tang Wulin's mouth curved into a secretive smile. He waved his companions back, signaling that he alone was enough. He copied Long Chen and dashed forward to meet him. Unlike his opponent, his movements were light and relaxed as if he wasn't worried at all. His purple soul rings disappeared, an intimidating golden one rising to take their place. Golden scales rippled into existence along his right arm. Long Chen roared as he approached. 1-on-1. Let's see who'll win, your 3 rings or my 4. My martial soul is the Holy Radiant Dragon. Long Chen brimmed with confidence. He was already planning what he would do after eliminating Tang Wulin, the opposing team's captain. When they were only meters away from each other, Long Chen finally felt that something was off. His opponent didn't seem to be affected by his dragon roar at all. In fact, Tang Wulin looked at him with pity in his eyes. Huh? Pity? Why? Right before they would clash, Tang Wulin jumped into the air. His golden soul ring lit up and his blood essence flowed in reverse as he used Golden Dragon Body. The wild aura of the Golden Dragon King burst out at that same moment. Long Chen jumped up to meet him. He used his first soul skill, Dragon Claw, and slashed down with both hands. As a genius of the Imperial Sun Moon Academy, he possessed a calm temperament and dignity. He didn't dare look down on his opponent, no matter who they be. Although he was confident he could suppress Tang Wulin, he wouldn't risk holding back. The instant after he used his first soul skill, his 4th ring lit up as well. Using 2 soul skills at the same time was an advanced soul master control technique. His 4th soul skill was Dragon's Might. The power of the holy radiant dragon surged through his veins, his dragon claws blossoming with a brilliant light. Tiny scales surfaced on his body. Although they weren't mature dragon scales, they were still fledgling ones. Long Chen wanted to instantly eliminate Tang Wulin to bolster his team's morale, then use the momentum to annihilate the rest of his opponents. By that time, it wouldn't matter if Tang Wulin's team was the weakest at Shrek Academy. They were still Shrek Academy students. Such a miserable defeat would be shameful regardless. But at that moment, Tang Wulin's draconic aura burst out. The instant their auras touched, fear rose up inside of Long Chen's heart so fast he felt like he was drowning in it, his instincts screaming out for mercy. He couldn't comprehend what was happening. What's going on? Why do I feel so scared? His entire body shuddered in despair. Tang Wulin seemed to grow several times larger as he approached, while he himself became smaller and smaller. The power of his claw plummeted. Gritting his teeth, he pushed on with his attack, doing his best to control his trembling body. But he was helpless before Tang Wulin's might. Even Dragon's might was forcefully pushed down, stripping him of its empowering effects. His bloodline was completely suppressed. He couldn't even use a single soul skill. The gap between his holy radiant dragon and Tang Wulin's golden dragon king was like that of heaven and earth. Before Long Chen's very eyes appeared a golden dragon claw multitudes larger than his own. Each and every one of its scales sparkled with regal might as it smashed down. The instant their claws touched, an intense tremble ran down his spine and his soul power scattered apart. The entire Imperial Sun Moon Academy was speechless. Their champion, the holy radiant dragon Long Chen, who ranked 10th on the Genius Youths rankings, was smashed into the ground face first. Tang Wulin landed beside him a moment later. He had stopped short of using his claw's crushing effect. That would have been overkill. With this, the holy radiant dragon Long Chen was defeated. The entire arena was silent. Even without the soundproof barrier, it was so quiet that you could have heard a pin drop. No one had expected to witness such a scene. After all, Long Chen was 10th on the Genius Youths rankings. He was a soul ancestor with the holy radiant dragon martial soul. Yet he had been thoroughly defeated in a single clash. The entire exchange had happened in the blink of an eye. Long Chen had frozen just before they were about to crash, leaving himself wide open to Tang Wulin's claw attack. It had been a textbook example of restricting movements while mid-air. Except, this was normally something only mechas were capable of. The Imperial Sun Moon Academy's team had 5 people remaining, and they were all gaping at Tang Wulin. They couldn't comprehend what they just saw. Tang Wulin had swatted down their almighty captain like a fly, and done it with ease. He hadn't displayed any sort of overwhelming power when he defeated Long Chen. They couldn't accept something like this. Yu Dingqi snarled. He swung his meteor hammer over his head by the chain a few times, then threw it at Tang Wulin like a flail. Tang Wulin kicked Long Chen's limp body off the stage to avoid any collateral damage. Once a soul master lost consciousness, their martial soul would disappear, along with the empowering effects. Jian Mochen moved at the same time as Yu Dingqi. He hefted up his round shield and threw it at Tang Wulin. Guang Zhantian let out a battle cry as she attacked too, wielding a great axe that was engraved with a tiger pattern. It was her martial soul. Tang Wulin faced them and waited. He raised his hands, his left curled into a fist and his right in its claw form. He punched the meteor hammer with his left hand, sending it flying back with a boom without moving back an inch. Then he grabbed the shield flying at him with his claw. The instant he touched it, the tiger emblem suddenly lit up, began vibrating. A tiger burst out of the shield, biting at Tang Wulin's face. Is that his spirit soul? So he hid it inside his shield. Tang Wulin was unfazed. Guang Zhantian arrived at that instant, descending on Tang Wulin, her great axe raised high above her head. She let out a barbaric cry as she chopped down, the power behind her strike frightening. But Tang Wulin ignored her. Focusing on the shield in his hand, he forced his blood essence to surge in reverse and drew forth the power of Golden Dragon shocks the heavens. A draconic roar far mightier than Long Chen's rumbled through the arena. Before the tiger could reach Tang Wulin, It was struck dumb and retreated back into the shield in fear. Tang Wulin tightened his grip on the shield, exerting his claws' crushing effect on it. Cracks ran through Jian Morchen's Sky Tiger shield. Seeing this, Jian Morchen immediately used his third soul skill. The shield suddenly disappeared from Tang Wulin's claw and returned to Jian Morchen. Quang Zhantian's great axe was upon Tang Wulin now. A metallic clang rang out as Quang Zhantian's great axe was blocked by something and she was beaten back. Yi Xinglan stood between them. She had stepped in to defend her captain. After all, Tang Wulin wasn't facing them all alone. Quang Zhantian and Yu Dingqi retreated to regroup with their teammates. None of them made a move, all of their expressions clouded over. In the opening clash, their team captain was eliminated. They were now at a disadvantage of 5 versus 6. They still couldn't believe this happened. Shui Liushuang glanced at her teammates. "I'll act as the substitute captain. Be careful, everyone." Tang Wulin regrouped with his comrades as well. Both teams stared each other down. Xie smirked. "And I thought they were supposed to be strong. They're all bark and no bite," he said, deliberately raising his voice so the opposing team could hear. Xie knew that his captain was the ultimate weapon against dragon-type martial souls. His bloodline could suppress any and all dragons. If Long Chen had been prepared for the mental shock of facing Tang Wulin, with his superior cultivation level, he wouldn't have been so easily defeated. Of course, no one would expect that a peak-level martial soul like the Holy Radiant Dragon could be suppressed. He had been caught completely off guard, opening himself to be instantly eliminated. As Tang Wulin stared down his opponents, he couldn't help but harbor some approval of their actions. Despite their captain being eliminated, they didn't rashly attack, instead regrouping and remaining calm. It was an impressive show of discipline. They still had 2 soul ancestors left as well. The match was far from over. Jian Morchen still stared at Tang Wulin in disbelief. His martial soul was special in that it combined both attack and defense into the same thing. His shield also acted as a lethal weapon, and when combined with his spirit soul and shield return soul skill, he could easily switch between defense and attack at a moment's notice. Although Tang Wulin had punched back the meteor hammer easily, he was still impressed by its strength. It possessed a shock effect and had caused even his body empowered by Golden Dragon body to tremble. His left hand ached a bit after receiving that attack. He hadn't come out completely unscathed. Tang Wulin turned his eyes to Quang Zhantian. "She's nothing like a girl, she's a berserker. That axe is huge. It's taller than her." If Yi Xinglan hadn't intervened, Tang Wulin would have been in a tough spot. They were lucky to be able to take out Long Chen immediately, but Tang Wulin wasn't so naive as to think that victory was theirs now. Nothing was certain until everything was over. Tang Wulin grew taut as a bowstring. Then, as if releasing all that energy at once, he shot ahead. With Long Chen out of the battle, Tang Wulin could charge straight in. He planned on breaking their formation so that his companions could clean up the resulting mess. While they had been regrouping, Xu Lixi had passed Tang Wulin a bean bun. Tang Wulin was ready to enter bloodthirst mode. Jian Morchen took up Long Chen's position as the vanguard with Shui Liushuang right beside him. Shui Liushuang held out her hand. A pure white sword manifested in it, releasing a chilling breeze that blew through the arena and cooled the surrounding temperature significantly. Whoa! Her martial soul is similar to Teacher Wu's Skyfrost sword. Tang Wulin was on alert now. Shui Liushuang charged forward to meet Tang Wulin. While Tang Wulin barreled onward like a bulldozer, Shui Liushuang advanced with elegance. Her glacial sword danced in the air as she unleashed a barrage of frost beams at Tang Wulin while they were still a dozen meters apart. Tang Wulin thrust out his right claw to meet those frost beams. They shattered with a brittle sound upon impact, but a wave of cold frost followed right behind, seeping into his body and slowing the flow of his blood essence. Shui Liushuang reached him at that moment. Her figure flickered, then her sword split into 3, one stabbing at his head, another at his chest, and the final one to his stomach. The spectral sword? Your opponent is me. The 3 swords were instantly routed, shattered into fragments. Yi Xinglan stood in front of Tang Wulin, staring down Shui Liushuang. Tang Wulin called forth the might of the Golden Dragon King and dispelled the cold from his body, then continued past Shui Liushuang. She didn't move to stop him. Her opponent now was Yi Xinglan. Stargod Sword Arts. Spectral Sword Arts. Yi Xinglan pointed her sword at the ground, her eyes flashing with battle lust. The Stargod Sword Arts and the Spectral Sword Arts were ancient sword arts passed down through their respective clans. Both were worshipped as divine techniques for thousands of years. In the continent of Doluor's lengthy history, rarely had these two sword arts surfaced. But now, they clashed. The two girls sought for dominance and fought for curiosity. For pride. Like its name suggested, the Stargod Sword Arts harnessed the power of the stars. The Spectral Sword Arts, on the other hand, harnessed the cold to split light into its spectrum. Both were profound sword arts. As such, victory would be decided by cultivation level and sword comprehension. Upon the activation of her first soul skill, Sword God Star, Yi Xinglan's Stargod sword pierced through the skies. Thousands of stars manifested, bathing their surroundings in their brilliant glow. They condensed rapidly until they were in the form of a sword. And these stellar swords burst forward. Shui Liushuang flicked her glacial sword, tracing an arc in the air to deflect the attack. The clink of metal filled the air. Their showdown was in full swing. Meanwhile, Tang Wulin had bypassed Shui Liushuang, charging straight at Jian Mochen. Sky Tiger Shield. A shield-type martial soul special in that its offensive power was as great as its defensive capabilities. It was rated as one of the best martial souls. When Jian Mochen combined it with a tiger-type spirit soul, the effect was amazing. In the short period they had stood in a standoff, the cracks on his shield faded away. But Jian Mochen was still on alert against Tang Wulin, especially his golden dragon claw. As Tang Wulin approached, he thrust out his shield in defense. Purple light flashed around Tang Wulin's form. In the next moment, spears of blue-silver grass pierced through the ground. Blue-silver impaling array. No one could have imagined that after showing such domineering might, Tang Wulin would unleash a crowd control skill. In Jian Mochen's moment of shock, he left himself open to the attack. His body went rigid as the grass impaled him. Then Tang Wulin was upon him, slashing down his claw at the Sky Tiger's shield. As long as he could take out Jian Mochen, he believed victory would be theirs. A pair of roars thundered through the arena. Though stunned, Jian Mochen watched as his two tiger spirit souls jumped out of his shield in his defense. One was shrouded in flames. The other gave off a brilliant radiance. They were fire attribute and light attribute spirit souls. The two tigers pounced on Tang Wulin simultaneously, their flames and light combining to create an effect reminiscent of Yu Jingyu's holy aura. Tang Wulin retreated a step, giving Jian Mochen the space needed to break free. He quickly recalled the tigers to his shield to empower it once more. During the offensive, Jian Mochen was limited to one spirit soul in empowering his shield. On the defensive, however, he could utilize two. He was like a fortress. A gigantic axe burst out from behind Jian Mochen, zooming toward Tang Wulin like a bolt of lightning. Tang Wulin punched it away with his claw. But what came next hit him with surprise. The axe carried a spiritual attack. A tiger erupted out of the axe, identical in appearance to the light attribute one from the Sky Tiger shield. It opened its maws wide in an attempt to bite off his head. Man! Their teamwork is great! Tang Wulin grinned, not showing any fear. He dodged the attack at the last second, flying backwards in defiance of gravity. It was all thanks to Shu Lishi. He had yanked on the blue-silver grass connecting him and Tang Wulin, pulling his captain out of harm's way. At the same time, a golden array of light flared underneath Jian Mochen. Chains of starlight shot out and bound him. The core of the array burst, changing the axe's trajectory and sending it flying toward Jian Mochen. Similarly, the moment the array had shined, Wang Daimin's ice spears froze in midair and headed right back at her. The Sky Tiger axe struck Jian Mochen's shield. Due to his restraints, his stance instantly broke and he staggered backward. These were the effects of Xu Xiaoyon's second soul skill, Starlight Chaos. Even she was bewildered at the differences between both versions of her Starlight Soul skills. The more she used them, the more differences she discovered. For instance, her Star Wheel Shackle's absolute control effect had increased from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. Although this improvement seemed small, half a second could turn the tide of battle. Yet somewhere deep within Xu Xiaoyan, she knew that she wasn't bringing out the full potential of Starlight Chaos. Tang Wulin regrouped with the others briefly. He dashed forward once more, reaching Jian Mochen just as he had staggered backward. He smashed his claw onto the Sky Tiger shield, bringing out the full power of its crushing effect. Cracks spread through the shield, reminiscent of spider webs. If the shield were any weaker, that would have been the end of it. Blood sprayed from Jian Mochen's mouth. He stumbled backward, knees buckling and collapsing beneath him, which exposed the Imperial Sun Moon Academy's rear line, Yu Dingqi, Guang Zhantian, and Wang Daiming. A scorching heat flew past Tang Wulin and toward those three. 3 roaring fireballs. They drew magnificent arcs in the air, each with its own target, perfectly timed to exploit the opening. They were certainly awe-inspiring. An otherworldly shade of blue, hue that, upon first glance, seemed to ensnare the soul. Those from the stands could sense traces of wind and water elements within them in addition to the obvious fire. Rather than an attack of compartmentalized elements, it was a true fusion of all three. This was Ji Yu's true strength. She had been preparing this attack since the very beginning of the match and named it Blazing Blue Fireball. Although Shui Liushuang had noticed the fireballs, she didn't have the leeway to turn her attention to them. While she had the advantage against Yi Xinglan in terms of cultivation level, Yi Xinglan's understanding of the sword far surpassed hers. It was to be expected, as Yi Xinglan was originally an elite of Shrek Academy's inner court. Yi Xinglan's Stargod sword arts were already at their pinnacle. Shui Liushuang couldn't contend. In fact, she felt as if the mystical power of the Sea of Stars were wrapping around her tighter and tighter. Breaking free proved to be impossible. The Imperial Sun Moon Soul Academy had erred. They had thought that victory was assured since they had an advantage in cultivation level, but they had forgotten that their opponents were from Shrek Academy. Common sense couldn't be applied to them. Not only that, but cultivation level had never been Shrek Academy's basis of strength. It was obvious that if those blue fireballs struck their targets, the latter would meet a gruesome end. The victors of the match were about to be decided. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.